Well, welcome back. We are learning more about the impeachment inquiry into President Trump's dealings with Ukraine. This morning, the attorney representing the initial whistleblower said on Twitter, quote, "I can confirm that my firm and my team represent multiple whistleblowers in connection to the underlying August 12, 2019 disclosure to the Intelligence Community Inspector General. No further comment at this time." Of course, that original complaint accused President Trump of asking the president of Ukraine to investigate Joe Biden and his son in a phone call. The whistleblower complaint sparked more members of Congress to press for impeachment proceedings. Congress is on recess until next week. But the topic of impeachment obviously has been a big subject at many town hall meetings in congressional districts. East Bay Representative Mark DeSaulnier hosted 2 town halls in the last week. You got another one tomorrow coming up, and he joins us now to talk more about this. What are you getting from your town halls? You're getting huge crowds, hundreds and hundreds of people there. Do they want to talk about impeachment, or do they want to talk about everything else? Because there is that fear, right, that the business of Washington isn't happening while we are very focused on these impeachment proceedings.
I think impeachment is foremost on my constituents' minds, but followed by health care, housing costs, transportation. But they're really focused on impeachment just because of how quickly these things have come out in the last week and a half.
So let's talk about this latest tweet from the attorney that represented that initial whistleblower in that complaint, saying multiple whistleblowers are now being represented. You said you're not surprised by that.
No, when you read the Inspector General's report and the summary of the phone call, it's clear that multiple people who were there were talking to this first whistleblower. So I'm not surprised they had a relationship with them, that they're coming forward as well.
So you're back in your districts. We were just talking about the fact that you're holding town halls, you're talking to people, but there's some people saying, hey, call everyone back to Washington right now. We need to address this. We don't need to be on a break. But you're making the point that things are happening right now. Depositions are being taken, and you're getting the information coming in. Do you think you should be back, and do you expect that maybe you'll get a call from the speaker saying you got to come back now?
I think the way we're proceeding is the appropriate way. This is an investigation. Everyone's allowed their due process. The president is as well, although I've supported starting this inquiry for quite a while, because I don't think he believes that rules apply to him. And once again, we see evidence that he does that.
So you do have other members, across the aisle who say different things. I think this morning we had Republican Chris Stewart from Utah saying he's not at all concerned about the reports of this other second whistleblower and still defending this phone call. As we move forward into this, when there's a lot of this back and forth going, you were saying you also think it's important to kind of stay steady. I mean, you had this town hall in Richmond, and a lot of it was over logistics, as opposed to, here's what I think, I'm really angry. It was, here's what's going to happen step by step. Do you think that that's what voters need right now? I mean, people are very fired up on both sides of this issue right now.
Well, I think this is part of our political discourse, is we've got to take a deep breath and approach things thoughtfully at the same time that we have very emotional concerns. So we have to go through an investigation, and I think we will find the truth if we follow the facts, and that's what we're trying to do.
That being said, where does this go? You go back a week from tomorrow. You go back, and what happens next, and where do you see the big movements on this? And are you seeing movement from the other side of the aisle and people who normally have supported President Trump, who are now either staying silent or maybe speaking out? I mean, we have Mitt Romney speaking out, but he's kind of the only.
Well, in the first part, intelligence is already back there, the Intelligence Committee, of which they are the lead. Oversight is one of the 3 committees that I am on. So we are taking depositions this past week, and the coming week, in oversight of potential witnesses. So we'll go through that process and then start having public meetings. On whether Republicans will start to switch having friendships with a lot of Republicans and conservative Republicans, I think they're waiting to see where their public goes in their states and their district, and it's starting to change.
Okay, beyond impeachment, I want to just really quickly touch on some of the other issues. We've had environmental issues come up. We've had healthcare issues, immigration issues. I know you were a big proponent on the Bueso issue when that came across, and now we had this immigration linked to healthcare and the ability that President Trump said immigrants need to prove that they can afford healthcare. Which one of these issues top on your mind, separate from impeachment, that you're saying we've got to address this and we need the public to also weigh in on these issues and be a part of this?
Well, the first thing is to get a functioning Congress and federal government. because a functioning one would be addressing these things. We need to address climate change. We need to address housing. We need to address immigration. And we need to do it in a way that's bipartisan. We need to get people to reach across the aisle. That's when Congress functioned. That is really difficult to do with this president because he's not a convener. He doesn't compromise. He disrupts and points fingers at other people. So we just have to stay focused, I think, in the majority in the House and keep doing our jobs.
But if you had to give the House a grade on how well it functions, what grade would you be giving it right now?
Well, I'm told that our national polling is about 9 or 10%. I think that's about right as a functioning institution.
Yeah, you're not happy with what you guys are able to accomplish, or I should say not able to accomplish, as you said right now.
No, it's very frustrating. As somebody who believes in democracy and believes in compromise, this is the most dysfunctional body I've ever been on at a time when the country really needs us working together, whether we're conservative or liberal. And
so at your town halls, do you find people are leaving after spending the time with you 90 minutes or a couple hours saying, okay, I'm feeling emboldened, or do they feel more burdened when they walk out? Because we don't have obvious solutions to
I think a little bit of both. They realize the stress we're under and the challenges, but they feel empowered as citizens, or at least I try to give them empowerment.
So, and in your emotions, in terms of changing this, in terms of going forward, in terms of serving the voters and really balancing this out in a way that everyone feels like they're, one, being heard, and two, action can be taken, where's your priority?
My priority is keeping focused on the task of being a good legislator, getting to the truth, and finding solutions. And that's when you look at the history of this country, when we've gone through tough periods, there have been people who have done that have led us out of it.
Do you think that the Democrats are going too hard? Do you think that the people on the other side who are calling this, or as the president of the witch hunt, who are saying this is unfounded, who are saying that this is just politically motivated, do you guys sit back and say, okay, are we making sure that we're doing this for the right reasons and not because clearly that you are not fans of the president?
The President of the United States broke a law. He's admitted to it. The federal law says you cannot solicit anything of value from a foreign national. He solicited tens of thousands of dollars in investigation of a political opponent from the president of Ukraine. He's admitted to it. That for me is reason for impeachment, and should be reason for genuine concern by people who support him and don't support him.
There's a concern for you on China?
Yes,
on him coming out and saying, hey, I think China should investigate as well?
Well, he did that as if to say, yeah, I did it in this other place, but because I'm willing to do it in public again, you should look away. These are really serious things, and that's why you have professionals in our foreign services coming forward and saying, you can't do this.
Are you confident that the whistleblower, or now multiple whistleblowers, that their safety will be guaranteed in all of this?
No, these are scary times. We're going to do everything we can, but we've had discussions about this. How does this Congress make sure that they are protected when we have a Justice Department that is not really adhering to the law either? This is tough stuff for the United States, but we'll get through it if we focus on what our responsibilities are, and that's to focus on the truth.
And focus on keeping talking, especially with constituents. I know you have another town hall tomorrow, 3 to 4. It's called Challenges Facing the Next Generation Town Hall. That's a big topic. It's at Los Medanos College. We wish you the best, and thanks so much for coming in.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.